Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GCOR show. Today it's another GCOR special, and we've got a little special host. And when I say little, I really do mean little. It's Mighetmatt. How are you,
Hey
mate?
guys, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very good. It's nice to see you. In this show, we're gonna have a little chit chat. A little chinwag.
Yeah, bro. I've been waiting to this show for a long time now. Been really excited to do it. So hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. Anyways, let's get to the juicy part with these questions. All right. So, how did you get into racing, like in the first place?
I mean, my older brother, he's been into racing almost his whole life. He's been watching F1 since the 90s. That's
Mm.
how much older he is. But you know,
Fair enough.
but I started to get into F1 around the new era, so 2014,
Mm.
when you got the new engines, the V6 turbo hybrids.
They were hybrids. Mark dominance, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. And just in school one day, I just saw a book and it was all about F1, and I guess it all started from there, really.
The rest is history.
Yeah,
The rest is
I guess you
history.
can say it.
What about in terms of your like racing career? Like, is GSWA? It's your first league, I believe, isn't it? GSWA, like
Yeah,
proper.
GCOR is my first proper racing league that I've competed in.
Wow. I
So
mean, despite
yeah,
it's your first league and you've managed to finish third in the driver standings in your first ever, season. I think that shows that you've got a lot of potential, isn't it?
I mean, I would say so. Some people might disagree, but everyone's got their own opinions.
Yeah. I mean, last season was a very good season. Let's talk about last season. How was that like for you last season? How was it?
I mean, last season started off in the worst way possible in
Mm.
Japan. Obviously, I think I qualified up in sixth, got promoted to fifth because Coward had a penalty, and
Mm.
then just fell backwards, and then eventually put it in the wall, which
Mm.
was the worst way to start a season.
Yeah.
But then obviously we moved on into Australia. I qualified second, got the closest quali gap I think in GCOR history at the time,
Yeah, it was 0.0. I think it's still to this day actually 0.007. I
which
think
is so
something like that.
annoying because I could have got pole, but still waiting for that first one.
Yeah, Foop just beat you, isn't it? I remember
Yeah,
that.
he just beat me, but what a guy, what a driver.
Mm.
Obviously, got his win earlier this season, his second.
Yeah.
Then we got China, where I had a massive comeback drive last year. Could have
Yeah.
won, but you know, I'll say another day. Singapore missed out on pole by a tenth again. We
Yeah.
finished
To Nat.
second.
This
Yeah,
time was
Naz.
to Nat. Mm.
Always somebody, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. There is.
There's always one guy that's quicker than me every weekend, but I guess. Then we got Bahrain, where it was just a alright weekend for me. Had to do another comeback drive, but obviously missed Kota due to other sporting commitments.
Yeah.
Watching the mighty Tottenham. Anyway,
Anyways, that's for another show, mate.
yeah,
Spurs is for another show.
definitely. They're for another league at this point. But we move.
The lesser
We
said,
had,
the better.
yeah, we had Monaco, where I managed to make up four positions last year, which was insane. We got a podium. And then Monza. What a weekend.
Your first win. Wow, what a
Never
race
gonna.
that was.
The
Talk us through
feeling
the
after that
emotions.
race.
Talk us through the emotions of that weekend.
I mean, qualifying, obviously. I qualified in fifth, just behind you, in fact,
Mm.
which was quite cool. And yeah, obviously, we went into the sprint because it was a sprint weekend.
Yeah.
I was running quite well. I think I was running top five. I think top five, top six.
Something like that
Then
until
got
the last
involved.
lap, wasn't it? Last lap,
No, I
last
got
corner.
involved in an incident or something and broke my front wing, so pitted for soft. We had a
Mm-hmm.
safety car.
Mm-hmm.
We had our last two laps of racing. I was gunning for top five again and just got pushed off the track by Osos and Naz in the Astons and finished down in eighth, which didn't give me the
Yeah.
best chance of the race.
At the end of the
But
day, that's history, isn't it? Like when you go in the history books, you don't see, Matt
yeah,
finishing eighth in the weekend. You see Matt getting the full 25 points, isn't it?
yeah. Is
That's
it
all that matters.
25 or 26? I can't remember. I think I got
Mm.
fastest lap, but God knows. Yeah,
Either
then
way,
we
it's a
moved.
win.
A win's a win, and then we got onto the actual race. There was a lot happened. Fran Watkins, Foop, and Dino all crashed.
Yep.
Three
I had a
big
moment as well.
drivers.
I remember I crashed with Juan
Yeah,
Watkins and
you
Ozos.
were in that. Yeah, you were in an incident. Who Oso, was it Osos that got hit, or was it Naz that got hit by my then teammate Lando
Mhm.
under the safety car because something happened to do with ghosting or whatever?
Yep.
Somebody had a mechanical issue,
Yeah.
and then it was all plain sailing from there.
Yeah. What a weekend! I was so happy for you, because obviously when you put in so much time and hours into becoming as fast as possible, putting in that time and hours into the car as well, and then
Yeah,
getting nothing out of it sucks. So then when you finally manage to get the win, the full 25 points, it's the best feeling in the world, and obviously for you, it must have been even more special because all of us, we've all been racing for years, and then there's you, who's obviously this is your first season, so
yeah.
that must have meant a lot.
Mental. Like you can ask, even at Australia when I won that sprint race, I think I was talking to Coward as I crossed the line, and
Mm-hmm.
the emotion that must have come out of me then, because all I remember is just screaming as I crossed the line because I actually put it
Yeah,
on the front row for the actual race and won
yeah,
something in only my second race in GCOR.
yeah, exactly. That was quite sensational. Do you think last season was like a freak season, or do you think you can have better seasons?
I think last season was the beginning of something. Obviously, if we look at my season so far this year, the records won't show it, but I think I've been unlucky in quite a few races.
Mm, mm,
Well, obviously, it's all about what you do on the day because the records don't count that unless you're in the top three.
yeah, that's a true point. How's your season this year been?
It's been diabolical by my standards personally, or by most drivers' standards.
Yeah,
I've After finishing with 7 podiums, I think at the end of last season and a win,
yeah,
I've come into
a
the
win and a
first six
sprint is
of
good.
this
Yeah,
season. Yeah, I've come into the first six of this season and haven't yet stood on the podium,
mm.
which is tough.
I'm sure it's coming. I think some other drivers, Foop, he's gone through a little, tough spell, but he's managed to come out of it. I think you're going through a little tough spell, and I do think you'll come out of it. It's not that, as I've said, and I think you've said as well, it's not that you're slow, but obviously you're getting very unfortunate, being involved with incidents. But I'm sure, the bad luck will run out, and hopefully you'll get some good luck on your side, and who knows, maybe you might get another win this season.
Hopefully, man. But I mean, the bad luck's been there. I mean, Japan qualified second, then
Mm.
just through my own mistakes, bottled everything, bottled a
Yep.
potential podium.
Hmm.
Australia didn't have the chance to compete in qualifying due to an issue with the car, and
Yep.
then crashed out in both the sprint and in the feature race.
Hmm.
In China, I had another mechanical issue with the car and didn't get to do qualifying,
Yeah.
and still came home fourth.
That's a
Which,
good result. That's a good
yeah,
result,
well, that was a good. That's probably been one of my strongest weekends this season,
Yeah.
comfortably. Didn't compete in Singapore due to other sporting commitments,
Hmm.
and then what? It was Saudi next, wasn't it?
Saudi was
Well,
next, yeah. Saudi, then Monaco.
yeah, where did I qualify in Saudi? I'm trying to remember. P5.
Well, it was ahead of me. God, Saudi
Yeah,
was bad.
and one place ahead of you, and then got P3 in the sprint despite breaking my front wing on the penultimate lap
Hmm.
in that incident, and then came home P4 after some controversial incidents in the race that I'm not going to discuss for now.
All
'Cause I
right.
feel we'll move on from there. And then
Hmm.
Monaco, that's probably been, to be fair, my strongest performance ever at a Monaco race.
Hmm.
Even though the result in P6 won't show it, I think I showed the most pace there than I have at any point in my whole racing career at Monaco.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Monaco this year was crazy. Obviously, we had drivers that you wouldn't expect getting lapped. The Red Bull boys, they struggled a lot.
Yeah, both Red Bulls
Um,
were that.
yeah, Noah came from nowhere to
Yeah,
finish first on track and second on the results because obviously, yeah, that penalty.
a world champion
Um,
in Howard crashed out.
yeah, exactly. Coward, world champion, crashed out.
An up and
Uh,
coming, probably future championship contender Cyrax crashed out.
yep, Nas as well. Nas, he went from last to third. He went from
Yeah, that's
last to third.
incredible.
And then
11
me, I
position
just kept out the
gain.
walls. That's all I did, bro.
Yeah, that's all you had to do, and you won the race.
Yeah, wow. What a race that was, man.
It was a pretty good weekend.
But yeah, do you think so I've got another question for you, Matt. We're going slightly off the topic of this season.
Yeah.
But like what are your thoughts on GCOR? And how do you think it can improve?
Well, personally, I love GCOR. I mean, it's the only league I ever have competed in,
Mm.
but there are definitely ways that it could be improved.
Such as?
I
Have
think
you
the
got any?
calendar should be changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just
People said
give
the same
everyone,
thing.
yeah. I think the calendar is probably a big talking point among the whole field of what could be changed. Just
Mm-hmm.
because, obviously, we know stuff's happening for next season with Monaco coming off the calendar.
Yeah.
There's going to be an open hole to fill, which
Mm-hmm.
I hope Silverstone gets to go back to my home Grand Prix.
Yeah. Which other track would you have in mind? Like top three tracks. So you're saying Silverstone and which other two?
I think Spain needs to come onto the calendar, especially if we move on to F1 23 soon when it comes
Mhm.
out, or when it's even announced at this point because it's still not.
Yeah, these days you never know.
Yeah, you never know. But I think Spain with its new track changes, obviously it hosted pre-season for for the first season of Gen 3.
Yep. Even Gen 2 as well. And Gen 1. Jeez. It's just
Really?
been
Yeah, it's
pre-season.
got some
Yeah.
history, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, China's a tricky one because I think it's a really good circuit,
hmm
but I think there are potentially some better ones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
What
you ever
else?
consider would you ever consider tracks such as Austria, Baku, just a few to shout?
I mean, personally, Austria, I think, could become onto the calendar, but I think it would have to be a sprint weekend to make up for anything just because of how short it is.
Yeah.
Baku, after what we've seen in F1 this week, IRL,
hmm
I don't think we should bring it onto the calendar just because of the overtaking difficulties and you get stuck in a DRS train.
Yeah, true.
And that's already a threat at some circuits we race at.
Yeah, Belgium. That was a threat
Yeah,
last season at Belgium and even in the endurance race as well.
and the endurance race this year happened twice.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, what else? I think France, that's a controversial one, but that should stay on the calendar, in my opinion. I know we haven't
Yeah,
raced there
obviously.
yet.
Alpine home track.
Yeah, our home track, obviously. But I think it is actually a good circuit, and people should probably give it a chance.
Alright, I guess we'll see
But
this
I'm
season,
backing
isn't
for
it?
it to stay. Yeah.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I won't be there this season.
Mm. That's unlucky.
Yeah,
Who
probably
do
one
you
of
think
my
the
favourite
reserve
tracks.
driver's going to be? Who do you think the reserve driver's going to be?
I know Hurricane's going to step into the car, but I don't know who's going to take the other seat after Fran Watkins retired over the mid-season break.
Yeah. Did that
Yeah.
surprise you? Did
It
that like
should.
surprise you?
I've heard nothing about it coming into the mid-season break, and I wasn't told before. I found out at the same time as everyone else.
Jeez, you
It
found
was
that
a
in the
big
news.
shock.
You found that in the
Yeah, it was a
news.
big shock for the whole team.
Jeez, that's crazy. Do you think there's going to be a replacement this season, or what? What are we saying?
Hopefully, we can bring in a replacement for the remainder of this season because I still believe we can battle for third in the constructors.
hmm
But I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out going into Austin.
Who would that replacement be? Who's been talked about?
Obviously, we've got our reserve driver Hurricane, who's ready to step up into the car if he has to.
hmm
We've got our ties to GN7 Mercedes, which gives us Skip Rat as an option.
hmm
Whether we would like to use our own drivers before, and then
hmm
maybe we could try and talk to a couple of drivers and get them to move, but
Yeah.
try to keep it inside the Alpine family first.
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading a lot of news articles. Obviously, I don't know how true these news articles could be, but there are a few names which are being mentioned in the news articles. One being potentially Cyrax, one being maybe Nas, and one even being Coward. Any comment?
I mean, I think all three of those drivers are incredibly good. Cyrax obviously contracted to Williams until the end of the year.
Hmm.
Naz contracted into Aston Martin until the end of the year. And then Coward, who has raced for us in Monaco, could be on the list of potential replacements. I wouldn't know. I think higher up in the team I like, it's not my decision on who my teammate is. I'm not that powerful. I'm not like Max Verstappen
Fair enough.
or Charles Leclerc at this point, God knows. But
But
hopefully we can get myself a quick teammate to push us for third in the constructors in the second half of the season.
yeah, definitely. I think it's been a surprise seeing you guys struggle so much this year. I think last season when you finished, was it fourth? I
Yeah,
think third
four,
was for the taking. Give you guys another race or two, you would have got third. So
maybe.
seeing you struggle so much this season, it's been a real shock, a real shock to the system, and I think everyone's been surprised.
I mean, yeah, even I've been surprised at how slow the car, well, not slow, but how inconsistent the car's been this season. Some weekends, like China and Saudi Arabia, it's been
Good.
arguably the fastest car on the grid behind the Red
Yeah,
Bulls.
I remember at Saudi, the front two rows were literally Red Bull, Alpine, and then you had the Williams of Hurricane in
Hurricane.
there as well, and even Coward in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it was a
But
very Alpine linked front couple cars, which was nice
mm,
to see.
it was,
Good
mate, it
for the
was, and then you
marketing
had Gen
department.
7 Mercedes down there, mate. We were at the bottom.
Yeah, you guys had a tough weekend there until the actual race.
Yeah, where a little luck fell on our side, and boom, we got P2.
Yeah, your luck's been incredible this year.
Yeah, we
You
have
got
been
mine
quite
from
lucky.
last season, mate.
And the comeback drives as well, and everything that's just been going on. I think, yeah, you guys have been very unfortunate this season.
I think we have.
Um,
Hopefully, it flips for the second half, but you know,
yeah, I guess only time will tell. Do
yeah.
you have any insight on next season, like driver contracts for next season?
I mean, I am contracted for next season. However, I'm probably not going to be here for the first half of the season at least.
Mm,
But I do still have my contract, which I think it expires at the end of next season, so I need to get that sorted out.
yeah,
And I'd imagine that whoever they're bringing in for the rest of this season would have a contract pinned for next season as well, just to have
it would
some
make
driver security.
yeah, it would make sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you were, let's say, in a hypothetical situation, if you were to call it a day at Alpine next season, where would you go? Obviously, it's hard to tell because it's so far in the future. But where would you actually go?
I mean, who I've got a couple of teams in mind that I would like to go to.
Hmm.
I think McLaren's on that list, but not high, just because of the history of the team
Hmm.
and putting on and getting in that orange car, which
Yeah,
obviously used to be a Silver Arrow before the Silver Arrows came back.
yeah. With the Vodafone livery. Wow, what a livery
Yeah,
that was.
what a car! And then even
Oh,
like the
childhood.
early McLaren liveries, like the
Definitely.
'90s with Hakkinen and the early
Oh yeah,
2000s
Coulthard
before
and
Vodafone
even
was on the
David
car.
as well. David Coulthard.
Yeah, and Raikkonen.
Ah, good days, man. That livery was so good.
Yeah. And then Aston maybe might be on my list just because another big British manufacturer.
That's true. One of the greatest teams in GCOR history. Obviously, Coward. He's won a championship there. Obviously, I managed to win a championship there, but
Yeah,
that was when they were called Racing Point. So they do have great history in GCOR. That
yeah,
could be
they
a
are
shout.
a big team. I think Mercedes potentially could be on my list of teams that I'd like to drive for just because of also their history in motorsport and GCOR. Obviously, winning the
Yeah,
constructors last season, showing that they've
yeah.
got a good car and leading it still this season. And you're top
Mm.
of the championship, aren't you, as well, in that car?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know
that's
for how long. I don't know for how long, but
I mean,
I enjoy
if
it
it's
whilst it
anything
lasts.
like last season, it's going to be a good fight between you and Dino again for the second half.
Yeah, it will. It will.
And then maybe even the Scuderia, the boys in red. Because who doesn't want
Mm,
to put on those red overalls for a weekend?
that's true, mate. I mean, secretly, everyone's a Ferrari fan. Like people say,
Seb,
I
Seb
say I'm
said
a
it.
Mercedes fan, you know, but secretly, I know I'm a Ferrari fan as well. Some people might say they're a Red Bull fan. Nah, they're actually Ferrari fan. Everyone's a
Everyone is a
Ferrari fan.
Ferrari fan. Yes,
Everyone's a Ferrari fan.
everyone.
It's
No
just
matter how
it'll
much
just
they
be
break your heart. Well,
What
I
do
missed
you,
that.
what do you say?
I said no matter how much they break your heart every weekend.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. That's just Ferrari way. It's just traditions, isn't it? Traditions.
Yeah, Ferrari out here breaking more hearts than you, bro.
Anyways, I mean you're not wrong. But anyways, um, do you have any thoughts on any do you have no actually? Do you have any rivalries like with other drivers?
I mean, everyone in F1 or even in GCOR is your rival because
Mm,
if you're only as good as your last race and you want to be winning every race. If you're not
yeah,
coming into a race wanting to win, there is no point of you turning up.
yeah, literally. I mean, you've got to think that you're the best driver on the grid because the day you
Yeah,
stop believing in yourself is the day you stop being a racing driver, isn't it?
yeah. That's the day where your confidence goes, and you start braking earlier, getting later on the power. You just lose so much time when you don't think you're the quickest. You have to be in
Exactly.
that right mindset.
Exactly. I think the mind games they play quite a lot, but
Yeah,
obviously only the strong will come through, and that's what separates good drivers from great drivers. You know.
it is 100%. You see it in
But if,
F1, you see it in GCOR.
yeah, exactly. But if you had to choose like two rivals, two drivers who you'd say you're fighting in the championship, who would they be?
Hurricane and Foop.
Hmm. Explain.
Just because every time I turn up for a race weekend, every time they turn up, no matter what track it is, how quick we look in one session or how quick our practice times have looked,
Hmm.
we always manage to find ourselves next to each other on track. Every race.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
always end up.
it's just
Yeah,
these things just happen, I guess. But
it
do you
does.
like what are your thoughts on Hurricane for a start? What are your
I
thoughts on him?
mean, Hurricane, obviously, he's an Alpine reserve driver. He replaced me in Singapore and got himself a podium, which was our team's only podium this year,
Hmm.
which you could say is embarrassing, but you could also say just the quality of Hurricane.
Yeah,
You know, when he's on form, he's unstoppable sometimes. We saw that in the Spa endurance races,
true that. True that.
where he got both race wins and just straight line speed,
Well, that's
helping him
that's
to a
that's for
win.
another day. That is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I think when he's calm, composed, and on his day,
Hmm.
he hasn't won an actual GCOR league race yet, but I do think that day will come. Obviously, this season he started showing up being a consistent podium finisher, so I think
Agreed.
he is getting there, and he is just
Yeah.
a really quick driver.
Yeah, I feel like Hurricane, his development has been crazy. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
remember at
wasn't
the
in.
start of the first season of Gen 3
Hmm.
when he raced for Ferrari.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I remember that. I remember Australia.
yeah, where
Jeez,
he just
Australia and
banned
Singapore.
me every lap.
He was
Yeah,
struggling every single lap. Every lap was spinning. Obviously, I think Ferrari. I think the Ferrari car was just a bad car. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I'm not saying it's 100% Hurricane's fault, but I think the Ferrari car was poor as well. Last
definitely,
season.
bro.
And also, what I hear from the Gen 1 era, I hear he couldn't even keep the car in a straight line. At least that's what I'm told. Obviously, I
Ooh.
didn't race in the Xbox League back then. But that's what I'm told. So now to see him fighting for race wins, fighting for podiums, it's a beautiful sight, and he thoroughly deserves it. And I
Easy,
think
isn't it?
a win will top it off. Hurricane, he's been such an amazing driver, and I reckon in the next couple of seasons he's going to be fine for this championship.
I think he will. Obviously, you and Dino currently are in a different league compared to all of us. It is like watching F1. It's Red Bull, which in this case would be you and Dino, and everyone else scrapping it out for that last podium's position.
Or maybe the 2021 season.
Yeah, or even 2016, 2015, 2014 with the Mercedes boys. The 2000s where you had the Ferraris dominating, but that was mainly Schumacher.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, you say dominating. I mean, I don't know. I think I've been quite lucky this season. To be fair,
I
I wouldn't
think,
say
yeah,
my
you've got
outright.
lucky quite a few times, but
Yeah, I wouldn't say my outright pace every weekend has been the fastest or even top two. I think I look back at races. I'm like Japan. My quali pace wasn't there. Or the race pace, I do think I was up there. Top two fastest.
100%.
Again, Australia is quite hard to see. You see, because I was quite unlucky actually in qualifying. I was unable to do a proper lap. In the sprint race, obviously I DNF'd. So even though I got a bit lucky in the race, I was also unlucky in the sprint. China, well, China, I was just drunk. I'll be real. I have no idea what was going on there. And then, yeah,
Don't
never
tell me
drink
I
and
know
drive, by
that.
the way.
Yeah,
Never drink and drive, by the way. And
drink
then,
non-alcoholic beer,
yeah, maybe it was the champagne from the first few races. Who knows?
maybe.
And then Singapore. Well, Singapore, I don't know what happened, man. I just turned up and the car was there. I felt the confidence in the car, and we got the pole. We got the race win. Saudi was the complete opposite. We had no confidence in the car. We had problems with our throttle, which contributed to traction. We had no pace. Somehow ended up getting P2 by God's grace. And then at Monaco, well, obviously Monaco is so hard to pass. So, but yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think this season. I don't think I've been top. If you get me, I think I've been a little bit lucky. But you know, some people say you make your own luck. So
yeah, and if you
I
don't
hope
get
to do it.
lucky some weekends, then it's just unfortunate, isn't it? Everyone has to get lucky at some point. I did a couple times last year.
Yeah, true that. True that. All right. What do you think about Foop, the next driver? What are your thoughts on him?
Obviously, I've battled Fuchs quite a few times for race wins and stuff. Australia last season would be a good example. Battling
Mhm.
him for sprint and pole and the feature race. And I just remember he's a clean driver most of the time. It's normally him getting crashed into,
Mhm.
or he's always caught up in an incident that isn't his fault sometimes, most of the time. Unlike Hurricane, where he can cause an incident, which I think's probably the area of his racecraft that he needs to work on the most.
Mhm.
But with Foop, I just think that he's also going to be a championship contender one day. Not this season, because I think it is now a two-horse showdown already this season.
Mhm.
Because you two are too far gone. I'm like 70 points off the lead, but here we are.
And anything can happen. Who knows? Anything can happen.
Yeah, you never know. Anything could happen. But
Yeah.
I think Foop, he's obviously won Saudi. Some say he got lucky there, but like you said, you create your own luck sometimes, and if you don't get it, then it's just unfortunate. Everyone has to get lucky at some point. I
Yep.
think I did at Monza last year, and that got me the win, so each to their own.
Yeah.
But Fuchs just a clean driver. He's quick most of the time. He's really composed. But when he's not having a good race, then I think he does lose his head a little bit, and it shows in his pace.
Yeah. I mean, when it rains, it pours for him, isn't it?
Yeah,
When it rains, it really does pour. Thunder and everything starts falling.
yeah, bro. You get floods when Fuchs not having a good weekend.
Yeah. Trust. What are your thoughts on Coward?
Obviously, Coward was my teammate at Monaco. He's a championship winner from back in the day.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, obviously, he's only got the same amount of race wins in Gen 3 as me, which took him a while, but he did also miss half a year, or half a
Mhm.
season, so I guess you could account that. But Coward is a quick driver. He's been trying a couple new things this year, which you said in the GCOR show from last week,
Yeah.
obviously. And I think once he gets back to his old self, he will be a championship contender and frequent podium sitter and race winner again.
Mhm.
And obviously, he's a driver I'd love to have as my teammate, but I guess we'll just have to see what we get
Yeah,
through the
that's true.
remainder of this season and next.
I think Coward's a unbelievable talent in GCOR, and I think the fact that he's only a one-time world champion, I think that's I think he deserves another one, but obviously he's not had a good enough chance to fight for another one. This season he's
Yeah,
really struggled at Alpha Tauri. I think obviously he's trying new things out, so I think if you're thinking about the future, I think he's doing the right thing, definitely. But it's only a matter of time until we see Coward winning races again consistently, getting podiums, getting poles, being up there in the fight. Because don't forget, last season, before he took the half-season hiatus, he was up there, isn't it? He was up at the
yeah, he
top.
was third in the championship. He was in front of me.
Yeah, he was really
He was
giving it
pretty close.
everything.
I
Even
think
though
the gap between the top four was only 30 points. I think at that point in the season,
something like that,
something
we were
like that.
close,
But
all four of
yeah, it
us.
was a close championship battle at that point last year before you and Dino started to walk away a bit.
Hmm
But I think Coward's one of those drivers that everyone wants as their teammate just because of how much work he does behind the scenes for each
Yeah,
race.
yeah. I think Coward. He's one of the blockbuster names of GCOR. You know, one of the guys who
Yeah.
future Hall of Famers. But
Yeah, when you
I guess
think of
it's just
GCOR, he's one of the drivers that you think of.
yeah, exactly one of the names, one of the faces that pop up in your head.
Yeah, he's one
But
of our
just that
GCOR
consistency,
legends.
really. Yeah, he is. It's just that consistency and that desire to race week in, week out, and not let emotions get the best of him. Really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I think if you don't have emotions when you race, then there's also no point, but you have to be able to control them and channel them into the right part of your driving to get the
That's
most
true.
out of yourself and the car.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, last one now. Um, what do you think of me? What are your thoughts? I always ask people this. I want to hear it.
Oh, bro. So I've obviously known you for it's 6 years now, is it?
6 or 7, something like that.
I think
We're
it's
old.
6 years. And obviously, we only found out we both liked F1 a couple of years ago. And I think that's really where us becoming friends like sparked a lot. In between
Yeah.
playing football, talking about F1,
Mm,
racing against each other. But
yeah.
obviously, you are a GCR legend, three-time world champion, most successful driver to ever compete in GCR.
Mhm.
And I think
Making me blush now. Making me blush.
you could get a fourth this year, but let's see what Dino does.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're just super consistent. Somehow you always find a way to bag a result out of anything, which I could never fathom.
I don't know how I do it. Honestly, it's God's grace. I don't know how I do it.
Oh, bro, can I have your luck for just one weekend?
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. Might have to go
Just so I can
church.
get a podium.
Just go church, mate.
Oh, maybe. I might have to at this point.
Oh man.
Oh. But yeah, you and Mercedes have done an incredible job so far this season and last. And obviously, the only thing stopping you is that Rebel team and Dyno. It's almost like 2021 is going to repeat itself. But I
It's
guess
anytime.
we'll have to find out for the remaining half of the season.
Yeah, that's true. Those were some nice words, mate. Thank you.
No problem,
Yeah,
bro.
I feel like I don't know. I do feel like I'm in a nice situation here where I've got the whole team around me. You know that GN7 team. Um,
Obviously, just signed your new contract as the number one driver.
yeah, just signed the new
That
contract
dropped
and even got the
minutes
number one
before we
driver.
did this
Yeah,
year.
confirmed as number one driver, which is nice.
Mm.
Even though I'm number one driver, I'm not gonna like. I don't want that power to be like abused. If you get me, I still want Ollie
Yeah.
Freeman to do well. If Ollie Freeman
Play the
finishes
team
ahead of
game
me
if
in
you
the
have
race,
to.
cool. Hmm?
Play the team game if you have to benefit everyone at the team.
Yeah, exactly. To maximize points, because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
about keeping the good team spirit, good team morale.
And that will
Um,
help you as well.
yeah, exactly. That helped me. I'll definitely relish off that energy of the team morale. So yeah, that's obviously interesting. But yeah, I'm just so grateful to have such a long lasting career. I'm so I thank God every single day that I'm in a car that's I'm able to push hard. That I'm able to extract the most out of, and hopefully you know get another championship. But my thoughts on you, Mighetmatt. My thoughts on you. Obviously, I've known you for, as you said, for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think actually your progression's been really good. I remember the first time we got on track together was in another league. Well, not really a league. It was like a pre-season thing. It didn't really last
Yeah,
long.
with just a couple of friends and stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah. Literally, it was
Australia.
like a track day. It was a track day.
Yeah, pre-season test,
Um,
like 21. Was it
yeah,
21 or 22 where they went to Spain and it wasn't a pre-season test?
something like that. I can't remember. I think it
Yeah,
was 22 actually. But
yeah.
yeah, it was something like that. And then it was at France, and I remember winning that race by 20 something seconds without using a setup. And I think I don't remember if you were using a setup or what. But I remember thinking to myself, you know what, Matt's got potential. He's a clean driver, but we'll see what happens. Then the next race, it was Australia. Do you remember?
Yeah,
And that's where I really I got that wake up call. I saw how good you really were, and obviously we had
I
a
think I
good
put it
battle.
on pole by almost half a second that race because I forgot to use hot lap mode on my first run.
Yeah, that's when I saw how the potential, and I was like, wow, this guy's really good. And then obviously that that little league thing, it couldn't really go on. But anyways, it was for a bit of fun. Anyways, it wasn't anything serious.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what, I might as well scout you to GCOR, help you find a seat, and boom, here you are.
All
What
these
a
months
driver you are,
later.
mate. What a driver you are. Like, I feel like there is a lot of potential in you. I think you will be able to fight for championships. It's just about, well, first of all, trying to make all 12 of the races in the season. I know that's quite tricky. But obviously, that gives you the best chance of winning a championship. Um, and trying to make the best out of a situation, I feel like that's the last, the missing piece that you need. Making the best possible, finishing in the best possible position out of a bad situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And
Because like,
yeah,
because like if one weekend you're slightly off the pace, then if you can make the best out of a bad situation, who knows? That's a podium. And at the end of the day, all these points, stack up and boom, like that, you're in the championship fight. And before you know it, you're a world champion. You get me?
yeah, bro. Obviously, I'm gonna listen to your advice because you are It's like talking to an actual world champion, like a young driver. Between me
Yeah.
and you, because you've won 3 championships, you've got all the experience. You're a multiple race winner, multiple champion. I'm sat here with my one race win and 7 podiums after a season and a half. And I'm just trying to gain everything I can from listening to you, Coward, Hurricane, who's been around for longer than I have, Foop, who's got a little bit more experience in leading races and fighting at the top.
Mm.
Like everyone, just trying to get that little bit of extra info and push me forward more.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what you got to do. But yeah, I see a bright future in you, mate. Last but not
So,
least, now, we're coming to the end of this beautiful show. Is the contract situation? I think I asked you, but like, what's your contract saying? Are you going to be staying at Alpine? I know you're staying for obviously until the end of next season, but have
I
you got
mean,
any insight after that?
I personally want to stay at Alpine as long as it takes. Like, as long as I feel happy here, I want to stay. But I might start considering something after, or if we pull a championship or two,
Hmm.
either in constructors or drivers, whether it be for me or my teammate,
Hmm.
just to help edge us through and mean that my time here was successful and it could show progress and stuff from where I started as a coming in with as a midfield team and then pushing us forward to championships.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. That's a great answer to end the show, mate. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure having you on the show. Hopefully, you can be on many more shows in the future. And on that note,
Thank
that's the
you,
end
bro.
of today's GCOR show. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
But no, thank you, mate, for having me. It's been really nice.
It's been nice, mate. It's been nice.
Yeah,
We
it's
need
been
to do
really
this
good.
again one day.
Yeah, we should do it again in a couple of seasons.
Yeah. Who knows?
See where
Maybe
we
even
both are.
end of the season, mate. Who knows? Who knows? But
Maybe it
anyways,
could be a big one for end of the season.
yeah, hopefully so. But yeah, thank you for everyone who managed to listen through this, and see you guys next time.